Hey everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Thursday edition of Today in Sports Betting. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, the one and only Scott Reichel. Scott, ready to talk a little NFL tonight?
I would be if there was NFL. It's kind of one of those rare situations where you have Thursday night football, but it's only of the college variety.
What game are we missing tonight, Scott?
How many what?
What game are we missing tonight? What are we supposed to be seeing?
I don't even remember at this point.
Okay.
I used to know, and then they started putting every single game on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so I kind of just decided I don't think dates really matter anymore in the NFL. As long as the games eventually get played 4 days after, as long as you complete the schedule, I don't think it really matters. I lost track because you've had to reschedule so many games over the last couple of days that they've been just flipping stuff all over the place. No, it wasn't supposed to be Baltimore because they were supposed to play Thanksgiving. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember, dude. I was just saying if you did, it was.
I mean, if you want to talk about NFL, just for the sake of Thursday night, we could talk about that thrilling game yesterday, which was some phenomenally played football.
Right? Yeah, you know, we cashed a nice ticket on that at plus 192 on the defensive score, the special team score. I had half of it right. I said RG3 is definitely a guy who would make mistakes with fumbling the ball or an interception. He did both in about the first 8 minutes of the quarter. And returned the interception a little short distance there for a touchdown. But we also had on the premium side, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we've been a victim of two, I won't say equally bad beats, Scott, because the Philadelphia beat, that was something epic. But this was just a regular old bad beat, and in a game that Pittsburgh should have put away many, many times. Numerous drops on third down. And it was, it's one of those where you've seen it before. You know it's coming. You just keep letting them hang around. You can't get that last first down to just ice the game. And, they bring in McSorley from Penn State to throw probably the only touchdown pass of his career.
Yeah, as a Steelers better, even though McSorley didn't have much experience, you were hoping they would keep RG3 in because he wasn't doing anything. Like, you knew when RG3 was in the game, they were not moving the ball.
McSorley was terrible. He literally threw one good pass. And I
didn't say it was good either. I'm just saying that RG3 staying in the game was one less variable you needed to worry about because he
didn't care. When McSorley came in, he was so awful. He short-armed the first two passes, took a bad side, didn't care. You know, Harbaugh gave up on that game with 5 minutes. He punted down 2 scores with 5 minutes left. He just said, Pittsburgh, here. Take the game, take the cover, knock yourselves out.
I don't know what Pittsburgh's linebacker was doing on that pass to Brown. You're up 2 touchdowns. All you have to do is not give up a big play, and then he goes diving in. He gives up an 80-yarder.
Yeah, who goes for the interception there with no deep help? I don't get it. But you know what? It's bitching about yesterday.
We kind of disagreed on that game a little bit just based on the fact that my favorite 2 plays were the first half under and the full game under. And that
was fine. I leaned that way too. I didn't love the over there. I liked Pittsburgh a lot better than I liked the under. In all reality, you probably should have won the full game under, probably should have lost the first half under.
Correct, but they both worked out. I expected a hideous game of football, and I got a hideous game of football. And should be a pretty fun, just I'd say scrambling situation for next, Tuesday for the Ravens and the Steelers when they play the Cowboys in Washington.
Yeah. Yeah,
so let me tell you a lot of scrambling.
Let me tell you something. I don't want to be too much of a homer here, but if that's the best that the AFC has, other than the Chiefs,
Kansas City's rolling.
Chiefs are going to Super Bowl again, buddy.
Well, I thought they were going to go to Super Bowl again anyway.
They probably that's. Although if Pittsburgh had some kind of a,
I think losing Dupree is a huge deal.
It is.
The main reason why I'm not fully on the Steelers is I know it's going to sound sacrilegious for some people who are Steelers fans. I don't think Big Ben is that good anymore.
No.
And I know that his numbers this year have been okay, but if you just watch him play, he makes so many just awful throws.
Well, if your receivers are going to drop, and I don't know what.
Deontay Johnson dropped a bunch of passes. I'm also where the Steelers.
I would say literally, Scott, without hyperbole, they had 6 or 7 really critical drops.
Yeah, the Steelers have a ton of really good receivers. I know that yesterday they didn't fully play like it, but you're against Baltimore with pretty much no defense, and you're just nickeling and diming your way. You're just throwing checkdowns. I mean, Juju had, 8 receptions for 38 yards?
Yeah, nobody had any yards. No, I don't think anybody had over like 50.
And the one big play of the game that Big Ben had was that lob pass to the middle of the field, which I'm still not sure how is not intercepted. I don't know what the hell kind of pass was that, but it worked. I don't know. I look at Big Ben and I just say to myself, he's going to do something stupid in the playoffs.
Sure.
And you know it's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the record, I think if Baltimore plays Pittsburgh in the playoffs, assuming Baltimore gets in, I think Baltimore's beating Pittsburgh.
I would have liked to see a full strength Baltimore.
I think Baltimore in the playoffs, if they end up playing against Pittsburgh, if they get in, assuming Pittsburgh loses a game or loses 2, and assuming Kansas City goes 15-1, let's assume that Pittsburgh is the 2 seed, so they have to play in the first round. If Baltimore's the last team in the AFC, I think Baltimore's beating Pittsburgh.
I think it's very possible. I think that Baltimore full strength is still a hell of a team. So, all right, bud. So let's talk about the games that we do have today. We got a couple of college football games on the slate. Looking at 2 matchups that only gamblers could love here, Scott. And luckily, we're gamblers, so I like both these games. First game, taking a look there at Louisiana Tech and North Texas. North Texas currently sits. Are we really down to pick 'em here, Scott?
It's roughly down to pick 'em or North Texas -1, but I know that Louisiana Tech opened up at roughly 3.5, and it's been all the way down to pick 'em.
Yeah, I've got it at 1 right now on Bet Online. I've got it pick 'em other spots. Who you got here? The Mean Green or the Bulldoggies?
So for this one, I'm going to lean to the over. You have seen some money on the over. It's gone from 65.5 to roughly 66.5. North Texas defensively is an absolute train wreck. And if you look at their numbers, whether or not it was before they canceled games because of COVID, after game, doesn't matter. They're giving up 41 points per game. They're allowing 535.3 yards per game. They gave up 49 last week to UTSA. The game before that, they played well against Rice, but Rice is offensively challenged. Game before that, they gave up 35 to Middle Tennessee. Game before that, they gave up 49 to Charlotte. They gave up 41 to Southern Mississippi.
Yeah, that one stands out to me too, because this Southern Miss Eagles team, they are dreadful.
They actually hired a coach yesterday. They hired Tulane's offensive coordinator. What the hell has Tulane's offense done that makes you interested in hiring them?
Okay.
I saw that and I'm like, Tulane's offense is bad. Why the hell would you hire him? But I don't know.
Hope you like to run.
I guess. But Southern Miss, offensively bad. And North Texas did not perform well defensively at all. Now, the reason why this game's a little bit tricky and why I'm not really interested on the side at all, Louisiana Tech hasn't played a single game since October.
Yeah.
They played October 31st. They just decided because of COVID and everything, you know what? November's a great month for a vacation. So they didn't play in November. And now they're coming back, and you have to wonder if Russ is going to be real, how this team's going to look. I don't think they're going to look good, but against North Texas's defense, I think this offense should move the ball. And North Texas's offense with Bean and with that rushing attack, I still think it'll move the ball as well. So I think you'll see a high-scoring game. I think both defenses will leave a lot to be desired. And as both defenses are allowing at least 32 points per game, I think this game gets into the 70s, and this game will be hideous. But I think North Texas and Louisiana Tech should get to at least 35 each. So for me, I'll take the over.
Well, I do have a premium play on the total, and it's a play that I'm much more confident about than taking any sides right here.
I guess I'm leaning to Louisiana Tech. I'm going to fade the line movement a little bit. Yeah. I know that they haven't played in a month, but this North Texas team, I just can't back. This team defensively is such a lost cause.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. Gun to my head, I'm going to take La Tech and lay the points here. I will take the pretty bad defense over the extremely bad defense. North Texas does have a better offense, but I think La Tech ends up spending more time with the ball. And like I said, gun to my head, I'll take La Tech, but that is nothing I'm interested in playing on a personal level.
Now, there are some variables. You also have Louisiana Tech's starting running back, Justin Henderson, who opted out, so they're going to be down their starting running back. But the main issue, or the main thing that I have to say is that Louisiana Tech hasn't played in a month, so people are automatically assuming, oh, this team's going to be rusty, this team's going to be bad. We saw that North Texas still sucks last week. Isn't there some chance that Louisiana Tech might surprise people and actually look mediocre?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, people aren't factoring that in. People are just looking at the time off and saying, oh, they're going to be rusty, they're going to be bad. I know for a fact North Texas is terrible. I think there's a chance Louisiana Tech could be presentable. So I'm going to lean to the team that has some upside because North Texas has pretty much no upside in my book.
In the land of the barefoot, the man with one shoe is king, Scott, and I think that's what we've got here in this one. Two terrible teams, one a little less terrible than the other one. Give me La Tech. I'll ride gently along with you on that one.
Yep.
And turning our attention to the late game. Hey, Scott, at least they have the game space so we can watch both games. I know you'll probably be watching college basketball.
It's going to be tough with the card in college basketball today. So
it is a rough card, as you guys can tell. We're not doing a college basketball video because there's just really nothing on the card.
I have a play that in a college basketball game, but I don't even think that game's on television, even if you live in Virginia. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, overall, not a good college basketball card. But you also had so many tournaments with the Maui and all those that you need some time off before they start going back to home games. So I'm not surprised you have a pretty underwhelming card on Thursday for college basketball.
Very good. Let's take a look at this Mountain West game, Scott. The Air Force Falcons heading up to take the Utah State Aggies. Air Force is currently 11.5-point favorite. No juice on that. The total is 51. So I will say off the bat, I do have a premium on the side, but I will talk about the total in this game. And I think this is going to be a situation, Scott, where Utah State has a lot of problems on the offensive side of the ball. They before the last game, they dismissed their starting quarterback, and their starting running back decided to forego the rest of the season, enter the transfer portal.
I would too if I played for Utah State.
And they weren't a great offense before that. So,
but you didn't hear they scored 41 points last week. They have to be good at offense, right?
Oh yeah, against another team that's absolutely dreadful. Although they were an underdog in that game to New Mexico for whatever reason.
They were an underdog in that game, and I can't even remember the last game that New Mexico's actually won.
Yeah, I think they won one last year. But
it's not as bad as Akron, but that's a team that has a parade every time they win a football game.
Yeah, by the way, there's two terrible teams in the MAC, Akron and Bowling Green.
They play each other. I think Akron's going to win. They play this weekend. They play this weekend.
That's like when Akron played UMass last year.
Yeah.
You're like, well, somebody's got to win that, but I don't care who it is. What do you got on this one?
So for this one, I gave out a play of the day video on a team total. So I guess I'm talking about the spread.
Okay.
I'm going to be taking Air Force. Just at the end of the day, Utah State, I know that they looked good offensively with a backup quarterback and a new head coach. You're playing New Mexico. If you didn't know that the Utah State's backup quarterback ended up having 3 touchdown passes, 200-plus yards. He looked very sharp through the air. You know New Mexico's giving up 308 passing yards per game? This is arguably the worst pass defense in the entire country.
Yeah, I know they're giving up a ton.
So I'm not going to read much into it. Air Force, defensively, they're not as good as they normally are. They're still extremely physical, which is what they are known for their brand of football. I think that they're just going to absolutely punch Utah State in the mouth. I think Utah State's going to struggle offensively, as we talked about before. And Utah State, not good against the run. Air Force, number 1 in the country in rushing yards. So I think Air Force will just run the ball every play, maybe have 1 pass attempt in the entire game. But I expect them to rush for 50-something times, 350-something yards, maybe 4 or 5 rushing touchdowns. I think it's going to get pretty ugly. And Utah State, they're not a team that's built to play from behind. They're not a team that's built to play ahead. They're not a team that's built to play when they're tied. This team can't move the ball, and I'm not going to overreact to their performance against basically an FCS team last week. So I'm not going to read much into it. This team's terrible. They've only scored 17 points once this entire year. All 4 previous games they did not, and they played against actual conference opponents who are not complete garbage. So I think Air Force, after winning 28-0 against New Mexico, should probably win by 20 in this game, maybe 17. But I think 11.5 is way too low. So for me, I'll go with Air Force minus the 11.5.
Yeah, and for some reason, I kind of have the same impression that you do about this Air Force defense is that, they're not that good. They're kind of middle of the road. But, the one thing they've done is they've played very well against bad teams.
Yeah.
They gave up 49 to Boise State. Okay, no crime in that. But between Navy, San Jose State, and New Mexico, they've given up 24 points.
And San Jose State's not actually bad because they're still – yeah, I'm saying they've actually been a pleasant surprise for them.
So and I think they've got another team that fits right into that category. It's really going to be hard. It's hard to see where the points are going to come from this Utah State team because they've got two huge problems. Well, three huge problems. They're number one, as we've touched on, they're dreadful on offense. They can't move the ball. They've got new personnel in there. Number two, Air Force, not that bad on defense, especially against bad teams. Number three, hard to figure out how many times they're going to get the ball with Air Force taking a lot of time to sustain those drives and just march down the field. So
I mean, I did a play that a video yesterday, and I said that Air Force would have the ball for about 40 minutes. They're averaging about 34. They're 10th in the nation in time of possession. I think 40 is doable.
Possible. It seems like a little high.
Okay, you're looking at like 37, 30.
37. Yeah, 37.
Still, the point is Utah State's going to have the ball for about 23 minutes, and the team's offense is bad anyway.
Yeah.
That's not a good look. That's all I'm saying.
Not a good look at all. I like the I'll take any kind of under you want there. You want the full game under at 51. Yeah.
I'm assuming you agree that you expect under money to come in before kickoff?
I would think so.
I'd assume it's going to close at around 50.5 or 50.
It's the last football game of the day. It's just how many square plays are going to come in. I mean, you would think there'd be over money coming in just because it's going to be
for the squares, yes, because Utah State put up 41 last week.
Yeah, people are going to look at that and go, "Oh, see, they can score a lot of points."
They switch quarterbacks. This backup quarterbacks. The next backup quarterbacks. The next Joe Montana. That's not the case.
He might be the next Hannah Montana, but he's definitely not the next Joe Montana. So
it could have been Billy Ray, so it could have been worse, I guess.
Could have been worse. All right, bud. So yeah, I'll take any kind of under money you want there. You want to play under 51, that's fine. You want to play under team total under 20.5 for Utah State. That seems it's going to be a gift. You got a team that's only scored 17 one time against a team that's only given up 17 or more one time.
And that was to Boise. So that's
that's the
little bit of leeway there.
Yeah, give me I'll take Utah State under 20.5 there. Air Force over 31.
Do you see 20.5 right now?
Yeah, looking right at it on Bet Online, and you got a little juice to minus 130.
Okay,
but you'd expect that half point below a key number.
Okay,
so yeah, that's if you're gonna play team total under, that's your spot right there.
Yeah, I know that this video has been a little bit shorter because both of our leans have been kind of clear cut. We're kind of in agreement on this. So just to ask you some stuff about what's going on during the weekend for college football.
Okay.
You have any thoughts on the whole Coastal Carolina, Liberty, BYU situation?
I've really only read headlines at this point. I assume that I know Liberty's quarterback is out, so they end up canceling that game, and Coastal's going to play BYU this weekend. Is that when that game?
They tag team BYU in for Liberty, and now you have BYU undefeated versus Coastal undefeated this weekend. It's a hell of an audible by college football.
Okay, and that's what I gathered by looking at the headlines. Like I said,
that's a hell of an audible. I'll give them props for that. That's a good job by the NCAA to actually get some games going. I'm impressed by that.
Well, BYU is trying to play anybody. They're looking at they're on the outside looking into the college football.
There's no chance of getting in. And I got money on BYU to win the title at about I forgot what I got 300-1.
No, when they came out ranked 14th, you were screwed.
I knew it was over. It didn't matter at that point, but I do give BYU and Coastal props for just deciding, you know what, let's play more football. Because Coastal, after Liberty ended up canceling, since it's not a conference game, because Liberty's an independent, Coastal could have just gone for the undefeated regular season record into a bowl game, gone to a New Year's Six, and just call it a day. But they just decided, you know what? We're going to challenge ourselves and play another undefeated team. And
they weren't going to a New Year's Six, Scott.
Probably not, but you never know.
Not behind Cincinnati and BYU. You got two big problems there with Coastal getting into a New Year's.
That could be why Coastal wants to play BYU.
Absolutely, that's their only shot. It's their only shot of getting into a New Year's Six game. Is to beat BYU, because without that they were stacked up. Even if they went undefeated, they were still stacked up behind Cincinnati and BYU.
The truth is that Cincinnati, I'm still not sure about, because if Ohio State ends up canceling more games and everything, I think Cincinnati should go to the playoff.
I agree. Will it happen?
Probably
I
not.
mean,
You're going to need
when-
Ohio State to get another game canceled or two. The only chance you have is if Ohio State does not play in the Big Ten title game. That's your only.
No, I'm saying even if Ohio State cancels, will it? Even if they have a clear path, will it happen? Will the committee finally put in a
What's
group of
Cincinnati
5
going to be?
schools?
11-0, 12-0. I
Yeah,
think you kind of have to. And I love the Cincinnati team. I've been backing the Cincinnati team for months.
they've made us a lot of money, Scotty.
They're a hell of a team. But personally, so when you talk about New Year's Six bowls, Cincinnati, I'll leave on a separate category because I think that there is a chance they might actually play in the playoff. BYU has no chance, so they're probably going to get a New Year's Six.
Yeah.
Should be a hell of a game. I'm looking forward to that.
Whoever gets BYU is in for a rude surprise because that is a very good football team. Now they do sometimes, at least for like a half at a time, play down to their level of competition.
Yeah, they did that against UTSA earlier this year.
They certainly did, and that's kind of an annoying habit that BYU has. They don't play on TV at then.
They're playing on TV more though because they're ranked, so they've been on ESPN more than usually you're accustomed to.
So let's do this real quick here, Scott. If Ohio State doesn't get in, what's their traditional teams? You'd have Notre Dame, you'd have Clemson.
Well, are we assuming Clemson beats Notre Dame in the ACC title game?
Yes, I think you have to assume that with Lawrence.
Okay.
So each of those teams are going to be having one loss in the ACC.
I think Notre Dame is basically a lock to get in if they do not lose before the ACC title game. I think they're in.
And what are they? They've just got Syracuse left, right?
Something like that. They're going to get in. I think Notre Dame should get in. I don't like Notre Dame, but they should get in because they also destroyed North Carolina, so they have a couple of good wins.
So then you've got Bama and Clemson.
You got Bama, Clemson,
Notre
Dame.
Loss. What's that?
You got Bama, Clemson, Notre Dame.
You're good with all those three.
I'm fine with those three, assuming Clemson wins the ACC title game. I think Bama's a lock. I think Bama's getting in. There's really no way around it. So your fourth spot, you have A&M, Florida, Ohio State, and Cincinnati. And the issue you have with Florida and A&M, first of all, is the fact that Florida still playing Bama?
They're going to have to play them in the championship game.
That's what I'm saying. So assuming Alabama wins that game, Florida's going to be done.
And that gives them 2 losses.
Can you put A&M in there when they beat Vanderbilt by 5? I know they beat Florida, but they looked very unimpressive against LSU. They got smacked 40+ against Alabama.
I don't know how you put a team in there that didn't win their own division.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know if you can put A&M in there. Ohio State, assuming they play the Big Ten title game, will get in, even though their resume is an absolute joke. And then you have Cincinnati, who's chilling, and they are as dominant of a team record-wise and everything as Boise State with Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Like you can talk about UCF, but that's a separate category because they also just proclaimed that they were national champion. I don't know. They just rubbed me the wrong way. But I wanted Boise State to play for a title, and then they ended up losing to Kaepernick and Nevada in that game in the whatever. But I would love to see Cincinnati in. Is there any chance they beat Alabama? Hell no. Bama's going to kill them. But I would love to see Cincinnati get in. My opinion.
Okay.
You have any thoughts?
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
I think when it's all said and done, I think Ohio State's getting in.
How many? And what do they have to play? 6 games?
Something like that. But you have issues because you have Michigan, and there's a bunch of conspiracy theories going around that coaches are purposefully not playing games and blaming COVID because they don't want to get embarrassed. I don't know where you stand on that. I actually think it's kind of true. I think Florida State didn't play Clemson because they didn't want to lose by 70.
I agree with that.
I think it depends on the coach, but there's some rumors behind the wall, through the grapevine, that some teams are purposefully using COVID as an excuse to not play opponents. And to be honest, I can understand it. Because if you're a team like Florida State and you've been embarrassed all year, why the hell do you want to play Clemson?
Now, here's my question, Scott. We're talking about theoretically who gets that 4th spot. It's going to be Cincinnati, Ohio State. Who's a better team?
Between Cincinnati and Ohio State, you talk about solely on resume.
What? No. Who's
talent or resume?
If they play, who wins that game?
Ohio State wins.
Yeah. So that's, it's kind of fun to have Cincinnati in there. It's kind of fun to have
I just
talk
like
about
parity. I hate seeing the same 4 teams in the playoffs.
I agree. And it is literally the same 4 teams.
Except this year, there's no Oklahoma. Thank God. After they lost in multiple semifinals, we finally, most likely, don't have to deal with Oklahoma.
Hey,
So,
guess what, Oklahoma? Your defense still sucks.
mm-hmm.
And, you're starting to hear Oklahoma rumblings now. Because they've gotten hot, but they've got 2 losses. So no, take Oklahoma out of the equation. It's fun to speculate. It's fun to see what happens. I'm with you. I'd like to see any other different iteration of.
I mean, that's what I said. I said I think Cincinnati would get killed by Alabama, but I would love to see an unusual name or program get some love, especially since I think the playoffs should be 8 teams and they've been stuck at 4 teams, which has annoyed everybody for the last 5 years.
Am I wrong, Scott? The same 6 teams have been in this playoff for 3 years in a row?
Feels that way.
Georgia, Oklahoma, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Notre Dame. Who's broken through there? When was the last time one?
Did you say LSU or no?
Oh, you're right. Forgot
that was 1 year though. I mean, the LSU. Yeah. I know that you can call whatever you want to call it. It's an anomaly.
Yeah, it was Joe Burrow.
It's an anomaly.
Okay.
That's what.
Forgot about the current champion. Okay. Other than that.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's it. It's boring.
All right. So yeah, let's shake it up. For my money, hell, let's put Cincinnati, BYU, Coastal, and Marshall in there. See what happens.
I would be a fan if they ended up having a 4-way round robin for the 1 spot.
Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Oh man, that'd be fun. The 4 undefeated teams, absolutely.
That would never happen, but I would love to see the college football playoff get expanded to 8. I think 8's a good number.
Yes.
Work from there.
I'd like a guaranteed spot for the top undefeated group of 5 teams.
I want enough spaces for a mid-major to actually get a spot.
Yes.
Give me 1 mid-major in there, I'm satisfied.
And mid-majors have traditionally performed well against good college football teams.
UCF beat Auburn in that bowl game a couple of years ago.
That's what I'm thinking. You think back to Boise State and Oklahoma, many years ago when Boise State kind of announced.
You got a couple of bad ones, though. I mean, you had Georgia versus Colt Brennan 15 years ago, and Georgia smacked them by 40. You have a couple of bad ones, but usually they're more competitive than people think they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, that's enough of that. Play some college basketball tonight. We'll see what happens with college football going forward. I'll tell you the big winner right now is COVID-19. So we need to get a handle on that. Or we're going to be canceling more games and it's going to be even more chaos. So I like chaos. I don't like COVID chaos.
I'm praying that college football uses some form of bubble for the sake of the playoff. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see. We'll see what happens, bud. Any final thoughts on this football card for tonight on these 2 games?
It's pretty ugly, but then again, it's late at night and there's only a handful of people left in the bar.
She's winking at you. That's all you're going to get. You might as well. That's all I'm saying. Very good analogy, Scott. Tomorrow night we got Lafayette and Appalachian State. That should be a good game. We'll look forward to talking about that. So Anyway, if you're looking for more information on these, you guys know where to go over there at winnersandwhiners.com. Deep dives into every game every single day. College, pros, doesn't matter. We got it. College basketball, it's a great source, great resource. You got to get yourself over there and check out winnersandwhiners.com. Now, for myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Whiners, we appreciate you guys watching today. Don't forget to drop us a note. Comment section. Let us know what you got cooked up for today. Let us know how we're doing, what you think of our picks, et cetera, et cetera. I wish you guys all the best of luck on all of your plays. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back in the window. You guys have been great. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody. Clear.